Just when Labour thought things couldn't get any worse in Norwich North, they lose their candidate. Chris Ostrowski has had the most to prove in this campaign. He's been working very hard to try to hold the seat for Labour. Only last night he was taking part in a televised debate where he was judged to have conducted himself well. This morning, though, he was rushed to hospital after a night shivering in bed and then collapsing when he tried to get up. They no longer test for swine flu, but a source at the hospital told me his symptoms were consistent with the disease. Mr. Ostrowski was given antivirals and told to go home, drink plenty of fluids and rest. He'll remain infectious until all his symptoms have passed. And that presents quite a problem for Labour just 48 hours before polling day. With party workers worried that they too may have flu, a visit to a Sure Start centre by the Business Secretary Peter Mandelson was cancelled at the last minute. And with no one to accompany them, Lord Mandelson and his staff were forced to walk around Norwich on their own, pursued by a man with a UKIP poster.
Well, I think Chris will attract quite a lot of sympathy because he's fought a very good campaign and just as he would be a really tough fighter for the interests of Norwich in Parliament.
Suddenly, swine flu became the main talking point on the campaign trail.
I trust that no other candidates catch swine flu, and I send my fondest regards to the Labour candidate. I wouldn't wish this upon him, and I hope he recovers and goes somewhere nice to recover from his election defeat and his bout of flu.
People are going to be careful with basic hygiene, not transmitting the disease. There is no case at the moment for mass immunisation. People have just got to be careful and sensible and aware of their impact on other people and not panic.
As well as last night's TV debate, Mr. Ostrowski had also joined the other candidates in a radio studio. Tonight, in all the camps, there is an element of gallows humour. Who might be next? And what a way to end a by-election campaign. Andrew Sinclair, BBC Look East.
Well, now more on that debate which I hosted last night and which included Mr. Ostrowski and 3 other candidates. It was the only live television debate with the 4 candidates together.
This was the only televised debate of the election campaign involving all 4 candidates. The questions ranged from eco-towns to dualling the A11, the merits of nuclear power, and how the candidates would follow in the footsteps of their predecessor, Ian Gibson.
He was someone who spoke his mind and stood up for a whole load of issues that ordinary people want to stand up for, and I would hope to follow him in that respect.
He obviously was there for an awful lot of people, and I would want to be that sort of MP. I would want to be problem-solving.
I think I'm quite independent-minded. I'd like to stand up for the people in Norwich North. I'd like to listen to what everyone has to say, and I will vote against the government if need be.
What I would want to follow Dr Gibson in is being a strong local champion, and actually I would want to carry on, for example, doing some of the really good work he did in standing up for local charities.
At times the exchanges were sharp, but this was a chance for the candidates to sell themselves to voters, many of whom appear still not to have made up their minds.
Well, let's talk now to our political correspondent, Andrew Sinclair. First of all, how is Mr Ostrowski tonight?
He's in bed, he's comfortable, he's sleeping a lot, and there he will stay for at least tomorrow, possibly polling day, perhaps even Friday, when they count the results. It all depends how quickly he recovers. In the meantime, his wife, his driver, and Bob Blizzard, the Waveney MP who's been running his campaign, have voluntarily put themselves in quarantine because they've been spending a lot of time with him. At the moment, no one else is showing the symptoms, neither are any of the other candidates, I hasten to add. This could just be exhaustion, or it could just be a touch of flu, but the feeling is it probably is swine flu.
How bad is it for Labour's campaign, really?
Well, the last 48 hours of any campaign is important, and it doesn't help if your figurehead isn't out on the doorsteps. But Labour insists their campaign will go on. Volunteers will be out, they say, delivering leaflets, knocking on the doors, and they'll keep on doing that until the close of polls on Thursday night.
Andrew, thank you.
And you can find a full list of all the candidates standing in Norwich North on the Look East website at bbc.co.uk/Look East.
There's lots more to come on Look East, including the football stadium in the region, which could be hosting World Cup football.
Find out why everyone's so excited about a mini baby boom in Suffolk, and Mark Foster goes for a swim.
Is open water swimming the new jogging? I'm in Whitlingham, near Norwich, to find out why more and more people are swimming wild in the country. That's after the news where you live.
A youth worker who was awarded the MBE has gone on trial accused of sexually assaulting teenage boys. Henry Day is alleged to have abused 8 children between 1973 and 1995 at a holiday camp he set up on the Norfolk coast. He denies the charges.
Henry, or Harry Day as he's known, decorated by the Queen and widely admired for his work with youngsters. But today in court he was described as a man who gravely sexually assaulted young teenage boys. In 1972 he set up the Young Citizens Guild at Hemsby near Great Yarmouth. The children would help local emergency services and the public. But the prosecution said that for a minority of boys their experience was anything but positive. It's alleged Mr. Day would ask some to sleep in his caravan. The court was told that one witness, now in his 40s, said he awoke in the middle of the night to find Harry Day touching him inappropriately. Others alleged that he encouraged boys to perform sexual acts.
When asked why they had never told anyone, one witness said that Mr. Day told him he'd never be believed and that he, Mr. Day, had friends in high places.
Harry Day denies all the allegations and says he hasn't abused anybody. The trial is expected to last up to 6 weeks. Alex Dunlop, BBC Look East, Norwich Crown Court.
A 51-year-old man from Chelmsford who died while he was bodyboarding in Cornwall has been named. Nigel Hayes was in the sea off New Quay on Sunday night when he got into trouble. His 14-year-old son was treated in hospital for shock and hypothermia. Postal workers in Ipswich have been taking industrial action. They'll be on strike for 48 hours in protest at plans to cut 37 jobs at Royal Mail in Peterborough.
Norwich has a new walk-in health centre today after the controversial decision to close one in Thorpe St Andrew. The Timber Hill Health Centre, based in the Castle Mall, is the first in Norfolk to offer X-rays outside of hospital.
3 years from this weekend, it'll be the opening ceremony of the London 2012 Olympic Games. Today, Lord Coe, chairman of the organising committee, was visiting sites in this region. He believes more countries will want to set up training camps here in the run-up to the Games.
They're off and running at the Braintree BMX track. Lord Coe there to meet the young riders of the future in what's now become an established Olympic sport. The start of a day that would also take him to Bury St Edmunds and Comberton in Cambridgeshire. They weren't alive to see his glory days on the track, but at Comberton Village College, Seb Coe is a hero.
We've done it! London have won it!
He leads from the front when it comes to banging the drum for London 2012. Today, the drumbeat spelt out the message, this is about a lot more than sport.
Whenever I come to a school or a college and I see the things that we could only dare to dream about 4 or 5 years ago, I recognise why a few of us, supported by thousands of people across the UK, got so passionate about bringing the Games back here.
Mozambique. A country with which the college has fostered close ties. It'll provide a training camp for its athletes in the run-up to the Games. Lord Coe believes other countries will be drawn to the region.
This is a positive story. This is a very good sporting country. I mean, actually, wearing my athletics hat, you know, one of the greatest 800-metre runners of all time, female, has come out of Mozambique just in the last few years, Miriam Matola. So it's a country that has got an extraordinary history for Olympic sport. And this is exactly what we wanted, and we are still 3 years out from the Games.
British Virgin Islands, just 2 athletes competing for them.
Not the biggest force in world athletics, but it'll link up with the Ridlins athletics track in Stevenage. 3 years and counting, no sign of enthusiasm waning. Kim Riley, BBC Look East, Comberton.